What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about a secret update for Black Ops 6, which is really exciting for Gunsmith, BO4, and MW3 fans. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and as a big reminder, we have a big week ahead with the launch of Season 6, aka The Haunting. The team will be hard at work over at dkdynamite.com, keeping you guys up to date with all things Call of Duty. I still have plenty of Black Ops 6 content also on deck for you guys, while everything else is going on with MW3. But as a bit of a final note for the Black Ops 6 beta, it was confirmed by Activision that this was the #1 beta in Call of Duty history. They said that it was first in total players, hours played, playtime per person, as well as matches played overall. This is going to be data from both the early access and open periods of the multiplayer beta. So this is honestly a great sign and a big relief to me that, yeah, there's a lot of momentum going into the launch of Black Ops 6 multiplayer. Despite some of the connection issues, despite some weapon balancing or your preference of maps, the multiplayer community is still being taken care of, and I think we're going to be looking at a very strong, if not one of the strongest launches for the multiplayer base that we've gotten in years. I think the multiplayer community was in real good hands with the MW3 life cycle. Sledgehammer absolutely knocked it out of the park, so if we could just continue that momentum and that vibe going into the next Call of Duty and then on and on after that, that would be great, because I know over the last few years the multiplayer community hasn't been all that happy with the DLC that's been added during post-launch. People have often claimed that other modes like Warzone have gotten more attention than 6v6, so let's see what ends up happening when it comes to Black Ops 6. But you guys might have also saw this clip posted a couple of days ago. I know Detonated co-owner Fajardi did find it over on Reddit. He went ahead and posted this clip of the XMG with the Crossbar attachment. It went viral, right? Everybody was blown away by how crazy this kill feed was, and the caption did say, "Welcome back, Hades Crossbar." This is a weapon that we saw over in Black Ops 4. I mean, the actual Hades was an LMG in that game, but the Crossbar was just an operator mod attachment. We'll circle back to operator mods in just a second, but yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually unlock this attachment on this LMG during the beta period. I know I was able to use it for free via Gunfight, which was great, but surprisingly enough, Matt Scronce from Treyarch did reply to this tweet with the following message: "We've got some fun stuff planned inspired by operator mods built into Gunsmith and attachments." Now, that last part could be pretty important that we'll also circle back to in just a bit, but this has me really excited for not just the launch weapons, but even some of the DLC ones, which may have some hidden attachments that could act as operator mods. And that's the thing, right? We're talking about not having to wait maybe several weeks, if not months, for, let's say, an aftermarket part to transform that weapon into something else, but right away when a weapon comes out, there could be some attachments that we have to mess around with that can drastically change how that weapon performs, just how operator mods did back during Black Ops 4. This is really exciting news, and I think another question is, should these operator mod-like attachments be released straight away with a weapon, or should they release through some form of weekly unlock system, similar to how MW3 has handled aftermarket parts? Like I said earlier, I'm going to circle back to how amps or weekly challenges could work in this game deeper into this video, but if you go back to Black Ops 4 for a second, you actually had to equip a wild card to use an operator mod. Now, we know about the 3 wild cards that are currently live inside of Black Ops 6, or the ones that were usable during the beta, which will of course be available at launch, so maybe they'll end up adding in a wild card to go ahead and use operator mods, unless we're just going to see a system similar to the XMG where just one of the attachments you can equip has an operator mod effect, eliminating the need to actually equip a wild card to use one of these. That would be great, because looking at how Black Ops 4 did it, that game had the pick 10 system. Now, I think it's crazy how restricting that was on the player. If somebody just wanted to use an operator mod, you'd have to slot in the wild card, allowing you to equip one, which significantly held back the player as far as what perks or attachments they could then run on their primary or secondary. So that's 2 slots taken from the pick 10, the wild card for operator mods and the operator mod itself. Then what if you wanted to run an operator mod on your secondary, right? That's another wild card you had to equip, and then another attachment you had to put on. So that's 4 slots already taken away, on top of the 2 for the 2 weapons, your primary and your secondary, giving you very little room to then equip whatever equipment or operator gear you also wanted to add. It was very limiting, so I'm pretty relieved that Black Ops 6 doesn't have this system. I think pick 10 was good at the time, but I think in today's ecosystem, especially with the Warzone integration, situation, it makes sense to not have a system like that when it comes to the Gunsmith. Now, I would have to set up my PlayStation and re-download Black Ops 4 to see all the DLC weapons that I have from BO4, because there obviously wasn't any type of cross-platform connectivity back when this game came out, but I have BO4 on PC, and I was able to look through most of the base weapons that have operator mods. I'll put some footage on screen so you guys can see, but there are some really fun operator mods in Black Ops 4. We're talking the bayonet for the Vapor. You can attach a knife to the very end of the rifle, and you can just one-hit any enemy. And yes, all these operator mods also worked over in zombies. There was the Echo Fire for the Maddox, there was the Quad Shot for the GKS, the Wildfire for the Spitfire with greatly increased fire rate, as it says in the official description. Obviously had a ton of weapon recoil, which decreased your movement speed while aiming and firing. This was also an absolute monster to use over in Blackout. Remember the purple rarity weapons in Blackout? Those, of course, had operator mods on them. That was wild. There's also the belt feed for the Cordite, in which you get a 600 round mag that does not reload, but the weapon can obviously overheat. Then there was the dual wield SOG that counted as an operator mod, a double tap auger DMR, then the repeater for the ABR 223. I remember having the airplane looking Mastercraft for this weapon, and obviously there's a delay between burst, but it decreases the longer the trigger is held, which is crazy. So then we have the Pentaburst for the Swordfish, and one of them that I think was easily the most controversial of the bunch here, the Impact Blast for the Stingray, right? This ended up getting nerfed a couple of months after it came out, might have even been a bit sooner than that, but this featured flèche projectiles that exploded when impacting an enemy. We also had the Oppressor for the Titan, as well as the Crossbar for the Hades. As we went over earlier in this video, this attached a horizontal grip to the weapon, greatly increasing ADS strafe speed, but replacing ADS with a tighter hipfire. There's then the Fat Barrel for the VKM, the Burst Rust for the Tiger Shark, and even the Bolt Cylinder for the Outlaw. It converts the weapon to a 3-round burst, and the list goes on here, right? There was one for the Kashka, the Vendetta, the Stripe, which was very popular over in Zombies, aka the stiletto knife you can attach, the Skull Splitter for the Mozu, which allowed you to ensure that every headshot was lethal. There was the Dragon's Breath for the Mog, the Strobe Light for the SG-12, and of course the dual-wield ballistic knife. Now, I got footage of a good amount of them, as you'll see here in this video, but what about something like aftermarket parts within Modern Warfare 3? This is a new conversion kit type system. It was a bit different from operator mods, since these actually converted your weapon into something else. They obviously all had that very futuristic white 3D print-like look, and they weren't just attachments. I mean, some of them were, but most of them actually changed your weapon into something that may have been a bit nostalgic to an older weapon we saw in an older Call of Duty title. So we're talking about attachments like flamethrowers, chainsaws, or what about a laser-like ability on the Bal, or being able to turn the BP-50 into an SMG, or even different ammo types for the Thumper. And it was a lot of fun for the RGL. And then something we got a little while ago was the ability to take the Lockwood and turn it into the Warden. You could have dual-wield Wardens, and the list goes on with aftermarket parts, right? So the question is, will operator mods in Black Ops 6, or the attachments in the Gunsmith, I should say, will they always function like what we saw for the XMG Crossbar, where they're just attachments? Or could we see anything that is very much in tune with aftermarket parts that completely changes the weapon into, let's say, an older weapon we used from a much more classic Black Ops game? I mean, here's what I'm thinking, right? We could easily see a weekly challenge like unlock system where maybe they do eventually add in operator mod or amp like attachments for previously released weapons, and you can get one of those every single week or almost every week in a season, similar to the 8-week season structure we got for MW3, where during week 5 you'd get a new ranged weapon for Reloaded, and then week 8 you'd get a blueprint, but for weeks 1 through 4 and then 6 and 7 you can end up getting maybe a new attachment for a released weapon or a conversion kit altogether that gives you something pretty nostalgic. But I think they can do a bit of both, right? Every week they can release an attachment or something for an already released weapon, and they can also ensure that when a new weapon does release, sometimes that weapon could feature a very special attachment that feels like an operator mod from BO4, or maybe even an aftermarket part like we got for MW3. I also hope they continue that update that we saw with Season 5 Reloaded, where you can end up getting a Black Cell blueprint out of the classified sector. That's, of course, if classified sectors do return to Black Ops 6 battle passes. That's also pretty exciting if you can get not only a new ranged weapon, whether it's a melee one or not, in that mid-season update, but then on top of that getting a free Black Cell blueprint. And I say free, but I mean if you already had bought Black Cell 4 or 5 weeks prior, that would be cool to also ensure that we're getting a ton of new weaponry throughout a brand new Black Ops 6 season. 2-3 weapons at the start, maybe 1 during Reloaded, and maybe even another system that we haven't even thought of yet. That's the thing, right? Modern Warfare 3 innovated multiplayer updates in a variety of ways. I can't even imagine what Treyarch also has in store for us. They can build upon how great the live service was from MW3 and ensure that Black Ops 6 players have something new to grind for and new to unlock with every major content update. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the idea of the return for operator mods or aftermarket parts of some sort within Black Ops 6? How are you feeling about all the changes to the brand new Gunsmith plus everything else we discussed? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody. GG, chat. Needed some scud, bro. Needed some scud action there. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's a little nookie noob.